friends. So normally it is just me talking about what we are going through, but today my husband has been very, very nice to join me to answer some of your questions about his perspective of what we've been going through with our infertility journey and the loss of our little baby. So we have some questions here, and we're going to go through them, and hopefully you get some great advice from us. Maybe not, probably not, because this is just what we've been through or what we felt. So we're just going to get started. You ready, babe?
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
By the way, my name's Matt.
Oh, people, they know that.
Oh.
Most people know that. Sorry. Okay. So our first question is a little uncomfortable. That's why I want to do it first, because we'll get the uncomfortable one out of the way first. It is, how do you guys make sure that intimate time doesn't become a chore? And I think in the beginning, especially once we started using, or I started using medicine in August of last year, I tried to like plan everything out. And so that was really hard on both of us. And it just didn't work out. It wasn't working. And I'm a planner, so that's why I did that. But once I kind of just forgot about the schedule of everything, it just became fun. Instead of trying to, okay, this is when we have to, so this will happen, and then, all of that. So I think for me, that's just really how you don't make it become a chore. When you're trying to get pregnant, just enjoy it. Don't think about, oh, this is what I have to do to be pregnant by this time, or we have to do it now. Just enjoy it, honestly.
For me, it's I'm not on a schedule kind of guy. I can't say, well, tonight's the night when we're going to do this, because for some reason for me it gets in my head and it's not going to happen. So for me, it's always a spur of the moment thing, and that's what's good for me. So with the schedule, when she tried to do that a few times, it didn't work out because it just wasn't going to happen. So, but because that, I guess in my head, that made it feel like a chore, and it just worked better when we, just kind of, she didn't let me know, what day
or when the time was,
or where the time was that she'd be ovulating or anything like that. So when it happened, it happened. And that's what makes it better for me, not a chore.
Yeah, I think we feel the same way on that. Let's see. Share any advice you have to console your spouse when they're defeated and or frustrated.
Now, I know some guys don't show emotion or things like that as much, so I don't really know how to, I'm sorry, but I really wouldn't know how to address that kind of guy, because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm more open about my emotions, and I express them a little bit more. And of course, there have been times where I've been frustrated and down, and Lacey really knows when that is. And for me, it was just always nice that her to tell me it's all right, tell me that it's going to happen, and just know it'll happen when it happens. And it's just that always made me feel a lot better about myself, because I always felt like, if it didn't happen, I'm less of a man or something like that. Like, not that I necessarily thought that, but with a guy, you feel that. You don't actually think, well, I'm less of a man. It's like, no, but you kind of feel that, even though you don't really think that. And so it just helped me for her to, ask me how I was doing, or like, and if I told her, I just feel down that I can't perform or anything like that, it felt good to have her tell me it's all right and everything was going to work out good.
Yeah. I mean, for me, definitely, when I first learned that I had ovulation problems, I was like, oh, great, it is me. There's a problem with me. But he He was the same way. He was like, it's gonna happen. You know, we just have to go. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so emotional right now. Like, that's just crazy. I haven't been. Anyway, but he did the same thing. He was like, it's gonna happen. These are just the steps that we have to take. You know, and of course, he couldn't go to the doctor with me at any appointment. Even when I went and my doctor ran tests to, you know, make sure I was ovulating, all that stuff, like, he wasn't with me at all. So I would come home and tell him all these things. But he did the same thing. He did, you know, it's going to happen, hug me, comfort me, stuff like that. And then when we lost the baby, the biggest thing that he did for me that helped me, I'm a person, if most of you do know me, if I'm upset, if I am going through something, if I'm crying, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't try to console me. Don't try to hug me.
That's been hard on me sometimes. I want to hug her and tell her it's all right, but she doesn't tell me to get off, but I can tell that she doesn't really want me doing that right now.
Yeah, and I've always been that way. I mean, my family can tell you I'm the exact same. When, you know, if we go through something that's very traumatic, like when we lost my grandfather, when we lost my uncle, just I have to process for myself, and then I can be consoled. So the biggest thing that Matt did for me when we lost the baby was he told me, whatever you need from me, let me know. Whether that was just let me lay in bed, just let me sit here, leave me alone. Not in a rude way. I wasn't rude about it, but like he knew, give me my space so I can process. Like, obviously when I came home that day, he held me, we cried, but that's just basically it. And I think the biggest advice that I can give is you have to know your spouse. You have to know your partner. You have to know them, how they grieve, how they come to terms with things. And if it's, you know, the first time that you've ever had to deal with something that's hard, because I feel like this whole process has been the first thing that we've had to deal with that's really super hard for us.
Yeah, really just be there for them in a way that fits the way that they grieve.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how they grieve and what they need, tell them you're there for them in a way that suits the way they are processing the information.
Mm-hmm. And for us, like I said in my last video, obviously we both know that it was harder on me when we lost our baby than it was for him. Yes, of course, he was sad and hurt and upset and devastated. But because it was my body, it was different for me. So it was really, yes, I consoled him and we talked and we cried, but it was just more of him being there for me through that. And I have a wonderful man, so that's very helpful. We talked about when we wanted to try again. We agreed when we wanted to try again, which was immediately, as soon as we could.
We're not getting any younger.
I'll be 33 in October, so.
And I'll be 36 in December.
But it was, you know, we talked about those things, and I think we're both very supportive of each other anyway. And so we had those hard conversation, or that hard conversation of, do we want to try again? Will we try again? Well, when will we? But yeah, just support each other in the way that you know your person needs to be supported. And if you don't know, just ask them. Because again, that's what he did for me. He just said, whatever you need from me, you let me know.
I think the next good question would be, to go right into it, is, has there been a point where you thought we won't and or shouldn't be parents?
No. Not for me. In some, you know, just in a general sense, no.
Yeah.
Not that we won't be parents, but just how.
Yeah, I didn't feel that we'd ever have, that I wouldn't be a parent or I shouldn't be a parent. I never felt I shouldn't be a parent.
No.
I felt like times I wasn't ready. Like, of course, in our 20s, that's definitely, for me, that wouldn't have been a great time.
Yeah.
But no, I never thought I won't be a parent.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I mean, most people who know me or who have been a part of my life, my entire life, know that I've always wanted to be a mom. So there's never been a point where I've thought, oh, I won't be. Like, God's not going to bless us with kids in some way. Whether that be natural or adoption. I mean, we hope we don't have to go through more fertility processes like shots or in vitro or anything like that. But, if it comes to that, we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But no, there's never been a point for me either. So, I think if you do feel that way, there's nothing wrong with that. Because again, people have gone through a lot more issues than I have with infertility, because now I just have to take medicine that makes me ovulate, and obviously that worked for us, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so if you get to that point where you've done plan A, B, C, D, E, and F, you may get to a point where you think, okay, maybe I won't, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just your personal feelings. So this question is basically for you, babe, because I've already shared how about myself. How did you feel when we suffered our loss?
Well, initially when I first got the call, I cried on the phone with her, because yes, it hurt me, but I could tell in her how much it hurt her. I mean, it hurt me, of course, but I could really hear in her how much it affected her, because it was her body that was going through this. And I mean, for me, I don't want to say easier, but I guess it did make it a little easier for me knowing that we didn't know the sex of the baby. It wasn't that far along. I don't think it ever had a heartbeat. So that made it a little bit easier on me personally because of that. But I know with Lacey it was harder for her because it was her body going through that. But I was still very upset because we were both so excited. We'd given, Dumpling was the little baby's nickname, and we were thinking about all the things we were going to do, and it was tough. It was very tough. So any guys out there that you feel like, I don't know, like, if it's natural to feel sad, don't hide that. Don't push it back down inside of you if you feel that, because that's going to make it worse. Show those emotions and share them with your wife, because she wants to know that you feel the same way. She don't want to feel like she's alone in this. So let her know that you feel the same way and you're there for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. Other people have expressed how their partners weren't supportive, and I don't know how that feels, because I do have a very supportive person. But just knowing also that he was hurt as much as I was, it made it easier on us, I think. Just because, like, I knew, oh, he's not sitting there thinking, oh, okay, well, it's fine. We'll just try again. It wasn't that kind of attitude. It was, we both need to grieve this. We both need to move forward from this part right here. So yeah, I agree. Next question. What about our process as a whole has been hard on you? Or hard for you?
Knowing the schedule when I knew it. Yeah. That's been the hardest part for me.
Yeah. That was my fault. I take responsibility for that. That was all me.
Really, that's all I can say about it. I don't know what any other guys' experience has been, so I can't really speak for them. But for me, it was about the schedule. When I knew about that, it made it hard for me to, like I said earlier, and that's really what it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
There's lots of things, but
well, I will say one thing. It was hard for me because I did go get myself tested,
yes,
and I was
did.
fine.
Perfectly fine.
So I did feel for Lacey that she might feel that it was her, that we can't get pregnant, and I hated that for her because I knew how I would feel if that were me, and I didn't want her to feel that way. I mean, it's natural. It happens to so many women out there, and I believe it's because of birth control. Being on birth control so long can do things like that, and men don't have something like that, so they're really not affected.
Mm-hmm.
So I did feel that was another hard part, knowing that she felt like she was the reason we weren't going to have a kid.
That was hard on me too, knowing. I mean, I've said it to my friends. I'm glad it was me because I didn't want him to feel like he was less of a man or, he couldn't do this for me. But that was very hard. However, even though it was me, my doctor, again, amazing doctor, he assured me, as long as this medicine helps you, it will help you, it'll help, and you, hopefully we won't have to go through any more hoops, other than this. And, so that made it easier. But that was hard. And then, so we had tried for a while before I went to the doctor. If you've watched my other videos, I went to the doctor because I hadn't had a menstrual cycle in a long time. Then, I found out that I didn't ovulate. And so starting in August, I started taking medicine. And then August to December, we tried medicine and it just wasn't happening. And so at that point, me and Matt had the conversation of him getting tested just to be on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did that in January.
Well, I actually suggested that because
he did.
I said if we weren't pregnant by December, by Christmas, I said I'll go get tested in January.
And so he did that in January. We found out he is A-okay. And then it was just a matter of me continuing to take the medicine and trying. And then in March, we got pregnant, which was great. So yeah, it was hard to know that it was me. But on the positive side of that, I'm glad it was me because I didn't want him to feel bad. And I don't know if that's I don't know what to say about that, but
selfless, I think.
Yeah.
I think too, to the guys out there, I know that some guys are like, well, I don't want to get tested, it's not me or whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting tested at all. It could be you. I hope it's not. I hope, that everything's fine, but you need to know both sides of why this is happening. Mm-hmm. And if it is you, there are things that I don't know that they can do to help. Mm-hmm. And so any guys out there feel like they shouldn't or don't want to go get tested, do it. Yeah. Do it. If you really want to have a child with your wife, do it for her.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, baby. Another hard thing for me was throughout this whole process and then losing Dumpling, it was I don't know how to say this without sounding like a horrible person, but finding out who's really there for you and who's really not, plain and simple. Who really is encouraging in this process, whether they've been through it or not. So yeah, that was hard. That's been hard. Still hard. Mm-hmm. So we have one more question, and it's a good one. So we're going to end on a happy note because y'all know I hate ending videos on sad notes. But what has been good about our journey? Like the whole thing.
The sex.
I'm not editing that out.
No, I think most guys would say that that's been the best part. That, yeah,
all
of
the
course,
sex we have
of
to
course,
have.
every guy would say that. So that's just a known fact for a guy. That's, of course, the best part. One of the best. But also, it's that we've been there for each other, and that we haven't lost hope. Yeah. We know that there's a chance, and it'll happen again. And just having somebody there, just for us to lean on each other. You know, I'm happy that we were both able to, you know, support each other. Like, because there are some husbands that don't have supportive wives. So, you know, it doesn't just go, you know, the other way around. So it's great that I have her to support me and she has me to support her.
Absolutely.
And I think the hope and, you know, the leaning on each other has been really the best part.
I was going to say the same thing. Just, it's brought us closer. I feel like it has. Yeah. When I'll say this because I have told people, and I think I told my daddy too, but when I was pregnant, like when I first found out I was pregnant, and a little bit before too, I was like, how is Matt gonna act when I'm pregnant? Like, how is he gonna be as a dad, you know? Because I've always wanted to be a mom. I have a motherly nature. Most people who know me know that. But so when I told him that we were pregnant and just going through those weeks before we lost the baby, it was so sweet and heartwarming to see him change or start to change into, I don't know. So I explained it to my daddy, and it was like a whole other level of our relationship. Like, I looked at you in a different way, and I loved you on a whole other level. And, oh God, sorry. It was really sweet because we had these apps, and his was Hi Daddy, and mine was Hi Mommy. Exactly. Anyway, there were these apps that we had. And so mine would tell me one thing, and his would tell him another thing. His were more like, Mom needs to be getting folic acid.
Yeah, like things I should be helping her out with.
Yes. And mine were, hi, Mommy, I'm this big, or I'm now developing my ears, or whatever it may be. So mine were more about the baby, his were more about me. And so sometimes, like, we would send them to each other, like, screenshot it and send them to each other. And it was just really sweet because he was like, are you getting folic acid? Or whatever your question was, like, oh, did you know this? Like, you have to be taking this. And I'm like, yeah, I already do. Like, my prenatal vitamin has it in it. But it was very sweet because I got to see how he was changing into a dad. And that was really sweet. But I feel like it's brought us closer. I feel we have a stronger bond.
Yeah.
Because of it. So yeah. So emotional. Jeez.
It's all right.
You bring it out of me. I was not an emotional person before I met this man. I was not. I cry all the time now. He's made me.
Shoot, I cry all the time.
He's made me a soft person.
Every Disney movie we watched, I cry too. I can't help it. I never used to cry that much. I don't know. But I do now.
He's turned me soft. I'm not hard anymore. No, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome, baby.
Thank you for doing this with me. I know people were interested in knowing how you felt.
Yeah.
It was nice. So, that is it for us with our questions. That's all we have for you today. So, sorry if you were expecting more. But I thought this was fun. We may do this again at some point. Maybe when we're pregnant.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Okay. I love you.
Love you too.